The entertainment world has been plunged into mourning following the devastating loss of beloved actor Ron Dean, whose powerful presence on screen and decades of work left an indelible mark on Hollywood. Known for his gruff charm, natural performances, and unmistakable Chicago authenticity, Dean wasn't just another face in the crowd, he was a cornerstone of American cinema. His ability to bring raw emotion and realism to every role made him a favorite among both filmmakers and audiences. With his passing, Hollywood has lost one of its most genuine souls, and fans across the world are honoring the man who defined what it meant to be real in an industry full of make-believe. Born and raised in Chicago, Illinois, Ron Dean carried the grit and pride of his city wherever he went. He often said that Chicago wasn't just his home, it was his identity. That blue-collar toughness and down-to-earth honesty became the foundation of his acting style. Dean began his career in the 1970s, appearing in regional theatre before transitioning into television and film. His face might not have been known to everyone by name, but anyone who loved classic movies recognized him instantly. The grizzled detective, the loyal cop, or the concerned father who always carried quiet strength in his eyes. Dean's long and distinguished career included roles in unforgettable films such as The Fugitive, 1993, The Breakfast Club, 1985, The Dark Knight, 2008, Risky Business, 1983, and The Client, 1994. Whether working alongside legends like Harrison Ford, Tommy Lee Jones, Christian Bale, or Robert Downey Jr., Ron never once seemed overshadowed. He brought an authenticity that few could match. Directors often praised him for grounding even the biggest blockbusters in emotional truth. As one filmmaker once said, "When Ron Dean walks into a scene, you believe it's real." News of his passing sent shockwaves through the industry. According to family sources, Ron Dean had been dealing with health complications but chose to keep his condition private. He passed peacefully, surrounded by family and close friends, just as he lived, quietly and with dignity. His family released a statement saying, "Ron never wanted attention for himself. He wanted the work to speak for him, and it did, louder than words ever could." The funeral service for Ron Dean was held in Chicago, a city he loved with all his heart. The ceremony took place at a small chapel on the city's north side, attended by a mixture of Hollywood colleagues, family members, and longtime friends from the local theatre scene. Inside, the atmosphere was somber but filled with warmth. Photos of Ron throughout his life lined the walls, from his early stage performances to his iconic film roles. A simple casket, adorned with a Chicago flag and a director's clapperboard, stood at the front of the chapel. It was a tribute that perfectly symbolized who he was, a proud Chicago man who dedicated his life to storytelling. But the most unforgettable moment of the service came when Seagal, Ron's longtime friend and co-star, paid tribute with a heartfelt and emotional message that left the room in tears. Seagal, who had worked alongside Ron during the height of his action film career, shared how deeply Dean had influenced his life, both personally and professionally. In a pre-recorded video message played during the service, Seagal's voice trembled with emotion as he said, "Ron Dean was one of the truest, most honest men I ever knew. In an industry where people wear masks every day, Ron was the one who never did. He didn't need to pretend, because he already was everything those characters were trying to be. Strong, honest, loyal. He was real." Seagal paused, visibly emotional before continuing. "Ron taught me something early in my career. He said, 'Don't act tough, be tough. Don't pretend to care, really care.' That's the kind of man he was. He didn't act for attention, he acted for the love of truth. And that's what made him great." The chapel was filled with silence as the words echoed through the room. Many attendees, including fellow actors, were seen wiping away tears. When the video ended, applause broke out, a heartfelt standing tribute to both Seagal's words and Ron's legacy. Other Hollywood figures also paid their respects in moving ways. Tommy Lee Jones, who shared the screen with Dean in The Fugitive, called him the unsung hero of so many classic films. Gary Sinise, another proud Chicago native, said, "Ron was the spirit of our city, tough, fair, hard-working, and real." Director Christopher Nolan, who cast Dean in The Dark Knight, released a statement saying, "Ron Dean brought gravity and truth to every scene." His authenticity helped define the realism that made The Dark Knight what it was. Ron's family shared several personal stories during the service. His sister tearfully recounted how Ron never let fame change him, saying he'd be on set one day and the next day he'd be home fixing a neighbor's car. His nephew shared one of Ron's favorite quotes, "Acting isn't pretending, it's being brave enough to be honest." That line drew nods and applause from everyone present. After the ceremony, the funeral procession made its way through Chicago's streets, passing by places that had meant the most to Ron. The local theater where he got his start, the diner he frequented, and the parks he loved. Fans lined the sidewalks, holding posters from his movies and waving Chicago flags. Some held up signs reading, "Thank you, Ron Dean," while others quietly cried, whispering lines from his most famous films. It was a beautiful, bittersweet farewell to a man who had touched so many lives without ever seeking the spotlight. Later that day, Seagal took to social media to share even more heartfelt memories of his friend. He wrote, "Ron Dean was the kind of man you don't forget. He gave me advice once. He said, 'Don't act like a hero, live like one.' I never forgot that. Ron lived his life with courage and truth. He made everyone around him better." Tributes poured in from across the entertainment world. Fans shared favorite movie clips, heartfelt posts, and stories of how Ron's performances inspired them. Film critics wrote essays about his contributions to cinema, calling him Hollywood's most authentic supporting actor. Even younger actors who had once met him at workshops or local productions spoke about his kindness and willingness to help others. Ron Dean's legacy extends far beyond the screen. He was a mentor, a teacher, and a man of deep principle. He often volunteered at Chicago youth programs, encouraging kids to express themselves through art. He believed in hard work, truth, and humility, values he carried until his final days. As the sun set on that emotional day, those closest to Ron gathered for one final toast in his honor. Jazz music, his favorite, filled the background as stories of laughter, friendship, and dedication were shared. One of the attendees summed it up perfectly. Ron Dean didn't need fame to be a star. His light was already shining in the hearts of everyone who knew him. Steven Seagal closed his tribute with words that perfectly captured what everyone was feeling. "Ron, wherever you are, know that you left this world better than you found it. You taught us that truth is more powerful than fame, that loyalty is worth more than gold, and that being real will always outlast pretending. Rest easy, brother. You earned your peace." As the final notes of My Kind of Town, Chicago Is, played softly through the chapel, everyone stood in quiet reflection. The moment was powerful, emotional, and fitting for a man whose life and career meant so much to so many. Ron Dean's legacy will live on in every movie scene, every performance that strives for honesty, and every heart that believes in the value of staying true. Hollywood may never see another like him.